some information. I want to say this. There was a song entitled, "We Shall Overcome." It was sung by men and women of different ethnic, social, economic, as well as religious backgrounds. We shall overcome. We shall overcome. Oh, deep in my heart, I do believe that we shall overcome one day. They came together to protest with a group of people that have been disenfranchised. Despite the fact that in 1866, the Fourth Amendment of the Federal Constitution was passed, guaranteeing citizenship to former slaves and changing them in the eyes of the law from three-fifths of a person to a whole person. Then in 1869, the Fifth Amendment gave them the right to vote. But there was a problem. In 1869 also was marked the beginning of the Black Codes, or the state laws that restricted freedom of African Americans. Among the freedoms restricted was the freedom to exercise the right to vote. And they did this by a literacy test, poll taxes, hiding the locations of the voting polls, and economic pressure, as well as threats of violence. This code continued, and it kept going until the movement in 1960s and 70s. Women got the vote in 1920. Mexican Americans got the vote, it wasn't until 1975. Asian Pacific Americans didn't get to vote totally until 1965. The Native Americans didn't get to vote or become citizens until 1924, and it took a long time. It took a bunch of time, and then all that took place in the 20th century. Now in the 21st century, someone has the audacity to try to take us back to the beginning. But I say that history will not repeat itself, not if we the people have anything to say about it, and we do. Which brings me to my mission today. In the book of Hosea 4:6, it says that my people are destroyed for lack of knowledge. Well, we're here to give you some knowledge today if you don't have it, so that you're not destroyed, so that you have the ability to stand strong and keep going. Lawmakers were elected to create jobs, but have decided to focus their attention on disfranchising nearly 1 million Ohioans with House Bill 194. I guess that it's easy not to think about jobs when your pockets are overflowing with money, when you have not one, but 2 and sometimes 3 homes, when your children's education was paid for before they were born and their life is bankrolled already. It's easy to think about anything other than jobs, but they need to remember that there are those of us whose focus is keeping a roof over our heads, keeping food on our table, trying to get our children education, and trying to help them get through in a life that's already throwing a lot of fastballs at us. And they're just making it worse with this voter suppression mess. Now, this is just an example of Governor Kasich and his political allies' extreme agenda and out-of-touch priorities. They are trying to rig our election process to further their political needs. House Bill 194 will disenfranchise hundreds of thousands of students, seniors, people of color, and the working poor, and is nothing more than a modern-day poll tax.
That's right.
It's nothing more. The communities affected by this bill have been hit the hardest by the recession. Some of the highest unemployment rates, and need more than ever for elected officials to concentrate on creating jobs. But this bill is an unneeded distraction of this priority. This is an attempt to address a problem that does not even exist. There is no evidence of voter impersonation fraud. Lawmakers should not be looking for ways to make more difficult for people to take place or part in democracy. We need the governor and all of our lawmakers to understand that we need jobs.
Yeah.
We're not going back. We're not going back. We're not going back in time. We've overcome to get to where we're voting. Now you want to take away our rights. The only reason you can want to do that is because you want to get in position to do things to us again, and that's us as a whole, that would not even be beneficial, while you're lining your pockets, while you're selling our state off to your political friends at a price that's costing us our homes, our jobs, our children's education. So voter suppression is not a good thing. It's not a good thing. It's not a good thing. It's not a good thing. Governor Kasich It's not a good thing. 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 It's not. So the last thing I want to say is fair election Ohio urges no changes to the Ohio election laws in 2012, especially between the primary and the general elections. Our repeal effort has achieved consistent election procedures for Ohioans in 2012, allowing voters to utilize nearly the same rules as were in place in the last presidential election. So we want our rights to stay the same. Let's stop the voter suppression. Let's stop the voter suppression. Let's stop the voter suppression. Let's leave our rights alone. We're not going back to the 1800s. We're not going back to the beginning of the 20th century. We're in the 21st century. We're in the 21st century. We're in the 21st century.
Reverend Jackie Jackson.